All right, so what we're seeing here is one of the key things for you is just going to be learning to breathe, Mike.
Okay.
Because your head is coming way up to breathe. So what I want to do, let's see if we can make this a little brighter. Brighten it up a little bit so you can see. There are some things that right off the bat you're doing pretty well. One of the things I look for is hand entry. Hand-arm entry. So that's not too bad. Your head's way too high up.
Okay.
Okay? But once your head is in the water, that's coming in a little bit flat, but not too bad. So the reason I say your head is too high up, I'm going to show you an Olympic swimmer. And this is John Van Hazel. He is, if you Google smoothest swimmer on the internet, you get tons of video of this guy. He's super smooth. But the reason I'm going to show you him is I want you to see his head position in the water. See when he turns to breathe, he's creating this bow wave with his head. And then you can see right here, the level of the water is really here. So this goggle, this lower goggle, is almost still in the water. If you go another frame, it comes out of the water. But it's really under the water in that he's created a pocket for himself with his head.
Okay.
Okay? That's the concept. Now in the open water, it's a little bit different. You have some chop. You may have to have your head come up a little bit. But when we look at your, if we compare, I can drag this back up into here. So let me drop it in there. Huh. That's not, let me do it. So get rid of that one. Your head is coming way up high. And when you go to breathe, it comes up even a little bit higher here. And you have no pattern to your breathing either.
No.
So we're going to work on that. All right. So when your head comes up to breathe, woo!
That's our one, yeah.
Well, why is that important? Okay, why is that important? Because you're going to see from the side shot that when you do this, like that, when that head comes up, those feet are going way down. And why is that a problem? Because those feet are all drag. All right, if we look at, I'll get rid of, we'll look, Rebecca Adlington, another Olympic swimmer, great swimmer. But when you look at her feet in the pool, what you'll see is, see how nice and close to the surface they stay? We're not going to see that with your feet. All right? No, you know, she's a swimmer. She's not a triathlete. She doesn't have the amount of muscle mass. My feet tend to sink like yours do. But you'll see from the side shot why we're going to think that's a problem. But that head coming way up like that is driving those feet way down. And you'll see that from the side shot in a second. So the number one thing that we have to work on with you, the absolute number one thing is breathing. And how are we going to work on that? Well, we're going to do two things. We're going to do a drill. And the first drill we're going to do is the sink down drill. And it looks ridiculous, but it's going to help you learn to breathe and really exhale into the water. It's going to have you learn to sink down to the bottom of the pool. Now, if you watch this guy here, on this time down, he doesn't really sink that well. He's pushing himself down more. And why is that? Because he's really doing more of a chipmunk cheek thing. He's really holding on to his breath and not pressing, whereas from his diaphragm. Okay. Whereas this guy here is really, you can see the amount of difference in the amount of bubbles. He's really pressing from his diaphragm. So this pool is not, the pool we're in today is not as deep as this pool. We won't have you sit on the bottom, but we're just going to have you sinking down to the bottom, coming back up, really learning to relax and breathe in the water. That's going to be the number one thing that you're going to learn today is breathing. And then after that, we're going to teach you to bilateral breathe, which means breathing every 3 strokes. Okay. So when you breathe every 3 strokes, it's very balanced. You breathe to this side, then you breathe to that side. You breathe to this side, then to that side. You may not always do that. You may take 2 breaths on this side. You may change that up, but for the future, for your immediate future, you're breathing every 3 strokes. And I'm going to give you a way to. I'm going to give you a mantra to say in the water. It's going to help you exhale into the water, and then inhale when your head's above the water. The other thing you want to do is you're going to want to get either some Speedos or some these shorts are going to
compression.
Yeah, because these shorts are just, first of all, the proprioception is going to be very odd because you're swimming through the water. The shorts are flapping all over the place. They're holding you down. You definitely want something a little bit tighter than that. Just for the feel. Never mind that these are going to slow you down. Just for the feel for the water. Okay? So we're going to have you play with the sink downs, and we're going to have you do some breathing exercises.
Okay.
So that's number 1, numero uno for you is breathing.
Okay.
Okay? Super important. So let me have you go forward. Because the hand entry is really overall, it's wide. Okay, can you see how low you are in the water here?
Yeah.
So, and again, if we just pull up Rebecca, you can see how high in the water she is. So you want to think of swimming as becoming a nuclear submarine. Nuclear submarine goes super flat, and it's got that big bow nose, right? Plows through the water, and then pulls the rest of it behind it. So Rebecca here, she's creating a hole right here. Wow, it's not a very good line. My lines are not that good, I apologize. But she's creating a hole right here, and she's pulling herself through that hole. There's underneath her, that's there's nothing going below this where she's already created this hole. Whereas Mike, on the other hand, his hole should be up here, maybe up here-ish. So that line is here. All that you're pulling, it's all drag. You're just pulling so much extra weight. You're doing so much more work than she is. My dad is a terrible swimmer.
Yeah.
And he's always telling me, he doesn't compete, he just likes to get his exercise, and he's older.
Yeah.
So he's always wanting me to make him faster, and I'm always telling Dad, you want to get a good workout in. You're working super hard,
right,
which is what you're doing, Mike. You're working so much harder than you need to.
Okay.
So how are we going to do that? We're going to work on tightening up your kick. We're going to have you do some, we're going to have you do this torpedo kick off the wall. I know it looks simple. This is Paul Newsom, the founder of Swim Smooth. I'm just going to teach you to do a little bit of that torpedo kick off the wall. You notice how, I won't have you kicking that hard, but we just want you to kick in that zone, that much smaller zone. See how much closer his feet are to the surface. Okay? Well, I'm going to have you do that, and then before we have you even do that, I'm going to have you do some ballet kicking on the side of the pool.
Okay.
I know it sounds a little odd, but we'll get you to tight. We just want you to be able to feel the way that kick should feel. All right? So, see that? Get rid of those lines. And I'm just looking at your face here to see if there's, and your head's out of the water. So, what we really want you to do is to get you breathing into the water. That's all. That's not too bad, though. When I see this, I see you right here. You are blowing out a little bit into the water. We just want that a little more consistent. And we'll probably have you doing some pool buoy work. And again, see here, the other thing we're seeing here is the big knee bend. Very, very common, but you've got a huge knee bend. And again, if we pick up Rebecca Adlington, I'm just using Rebecca because she's close by here. But if you notice her knee, there's a little bend, but not a lot. Right there is about as much bend as you'll ever see in her knee, whereas we see that much bend in your knee. And again, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but just so that's pulling. When your foot is up like that, you're just pulling all that water behind you. So we really want to tighten up your kick. So That's going to be the second thing. Most important is breathing. Secondly is going to be your kick and getting your head in the water. And then, let's see here. Follow the overhead shot. Let's get rid of that line. It's just me wiping off the lens. You're doing a funky thing with your feet there. But just so you can see from the overhead, your hands go way, way out. And you're kind of wiggling all over the pool here.
Yep.
So those hands go way out to the side. And then look at this. You've got a big bend in your body here. I don't have the right line. Oop. Get that line down. All right, so you've got a big curve in your body. Okay? So, and you're just fishtailing all over the place. So, how are we going to work on that? We're going to get you some fins, and we're going to teach you to kick on your side. Now, this drill looks fairly simple, but to get it right, it takes a little bit of practice. It's going to take a few minutes, and you're just going to learn to kick on your side. Just like that. Okay? Now, what is this doing?
Stability.
Exactly. There's actually a whole, it looks like one simple drill, but there's a lot of stuff going on here. First of all, Paul has got his fingertips below his wrist, below his elbow. That's the place you want to start your catch. Okay? He also has the stability that you're talking about. When you see him from the overhead shot, he's got his shoulder blades back. Let me get the overhead shot. There we are. So nice and straight and sturdy his body is. And notice how he's using the lane line. Well, it's not the lane. That's the center line in the lane. His hand is right on the outside of that lane, and that line, and his head's right in the middle. Just a good visual guide to have. Okay. The other thing he's doing is it's also a breathing exercise. If you notice, long exhalation. We're switching sides here, but he's got a long exhalation, short breath in. Long exhalation, short breath in. So it's a breathing exercise. You're starting to figure out where your catch should be. You're working on good form, and you're also working on breathing. So there's a lot going on there. All right. So that is like the kicking on our side drill is probably the most basic building block drill we have. And if we get through the breathing and the kicking and some of that, we will take the kicking on our side drill up to the 6-1-6 drill, which is basically the same as kicking on our side. You just kick 6 times and switch hands.
Okay.
Kick 6 times and switch hands. Okay? So we're going to play with that. Get rid of that line. All right, and then look at you from the front. So your hands are just going way out to the side and then sweeping in. See how straight that arm is out there? Now if we take, we'll get rid of that video, and we'll get rid of Rebecca, great swimmer. Put that back down, and we'll do this, and we will pull up. This is this woman, Shelley Taylor Smith, who was she's a marathon open water swimmer, and at one point was ranked #1 in the world over men. This is how fantastic. She's just open water. What I want you to see on Shelley is her great catch. Now she has tremendous upper back flexibility. But what I'm looking to show you here is her catch. ideally, you're supposed to be between 100 and 120 at that arm angle. And her other arm, so she's at 117 there. And here she's, and those aren't exact, but she's pretty symmetrical. All right, so now when she catches, when you're swimming well, you don't want to think so much about your hands, but your wrist and forearms. If you look at your, you don't have a wetsuit. If you look at your wetsuit, or a good wetsuit with sleeves, there are ribs on the forearm. And the reason they put those ribs there is so that when you push on the water just can't slide over those ribs. It actually grabs, and you have more of a push. It's giving you more propulsion. So that's why her arms, she's pushing back with her hand, her wrist, her forearm, actually even her upper arm. She's just got tremendous form. You're pushing back with this hand's coming in, and you're just kind of sliding through the water.
Right.
Okay? So, we want to get you to catch a little bit better. So we're going to do a couple drills if we have time, because the keys for you right now are just to get that breathing and the kicking and then some of that side down. If we have time at the end, what we'll do, I just want you to see them anyway, is we will do some, this is sculling. Looks simple, but if you don't do it right, you don't go anywhere. Give you a better visual under the water. See how Paul's hands just go back and forth? He's not doing any breaststroke. There's no flipping. He's just constantly keeping a little pressure on the water, and that makes him go forward. All right? We have time for that one. We will definitely play with that. And at the end, if we have time for the doggy. This one's a little bit more difficult because your hands never come out of the water. It feels a little awkward. These are both done with pull buoys.
Okay.
Any drill we do today will have either fins or pull buoys, and I want you to use those. If you don't have those at the pool you swim at, so the beauty of this drill is watch how Paul's fingertips go out, and then the fingertips go right towards the bottom of the pool, and it's kind of hard to see. We'll see it on the other side. When he reaches out from that side, this is what they call reaching over the barrel. That's the idea. That's where you're strong. If you try to push down like this, when you're swimming, you're trying to push down like this. When you get out of the pool, how do you get out of the pool?
Standing up.
Okay, if you're pushing off the deck, you don't stand way back and try to push like this.
Right.
You come in close and push like this. Look, my arms are right at that 120-degree angle. That's where your power is in your lats. When you're swimming really well, it's all coming from your hips and your lats. When you're swimming really hard and inefficiently, now we're trying to push with our shoulders. This is a much bigger muscle group than this is. Okay? So you can just see, and you can see here how well engaged Paul's lat is. You can just see how much wider that becomes over there. So we'll play with that drill too if we have some time. And we'll get rid of that. So, all right, so we've got a few things to work on. Is there anything you want to see before I shut the video off? Is there anything in particular you'd like to look at? All right, so we're going to shut this down. Stop.